All right, well, thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm Lori Kroger, and my colleague, Kelly Crawford, is with me today. We are both from Evaluation Systems, and we are happy to join you this afternoon to share some information on the edTPA refund process that will be used for candidates in your state who will not be completing edTPA due to school closures as a result of COVID-19. So we're going to walk you through the process for this. We'll kind of explain things. What we've tried to do is take the heaviest lift on our side. So it still is a kind of a multi-step process. But we've tried to do what we can to make this as easy on the coordinators and the candidates as possible. So we'll walk you through this. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to let us know. Kelly is here so she can answer questions as well. And Kelly, if you wouldn't mind just kind of monitoring the chat box, if you can see it, that would be fantastic. So again, if you have any additional questions at the end of this, you can send your questions to edTPA EPP support@pearson.com. Myself, Kelly, and our three colleagues all monitor that inbox. So if you send it there, chances are you'll get an answer a little bit quicker than if you just send it to one of us. So we're just asking that everyone send questions there. So today's purpose, what we're here for today is to discuss the changes to the standard refund policy for candidates in Oregon. So once the TSPC released guidance back in March on the 23rd, providing a waiver for the requirement of edTPA this spring due to COVID-19, Pearson began to look at those the standard refund policy and really consider ways that we were able to refund the full $300 to candidates. The standard policy, if you're not familiar with that, if a candidate registers and then at some point decides that they are not going to complete edTPA, the standard refund is $200. They just can go in and they can request that and they can have their money returned, the $200 returned to them. But again, what we're here to talk about is this extra $100 so that they get the full $300 back for their assessment. So candidates who are eligible for the waiver, or candidates who are eligible for the refund, are those who are eligible for the waiver in your state. So your EPP has said yes. The TSPC has waived edTPA for this particular candidate. So they need to be eligible for the waiver, and they have to have been a candidate who is already registered for edTPA, but has not yet submitted their portfolio for official scoring. Okay, so again, kind of multi-prong here. We're going to talk today about the three registration payment methods and how each of these are just slightly different. So candidates who purchase their edTPA themselves, so they pay for that with a credit card. The candidates who pay for edTPA using an EPP purchased voucher, and then those candidates who pay for edTPA with a fee waiver credit. This is the credit or the voucher that Pearson provides at the start of each academic year for financial hardship. So we'll talk about all three of these over the course of the next few minutes. So candidates who register and have paid by their own credit card are eligible for a full refund and just write back to their credit card that they use to pay. So if they are eligible for the waiver, then they will, upon withdrawing their edTPA, and I'll talk about that process in a minute, they will have their $200 of their registration fee refunded to the credit card that was used when they paid. you'll see that this is kind of refunded in two separate transactions. Again, that initial refund that they'll see relatively quickly will be the $200, and then we'll talk about that $100 refund that'll come in a separate transaction. Candidates who registered and paid for their edTPA through an EPP purchased voucher are eligible for a refund, and their paid edTPA registration fee will go back to the program as a replacement voucher. So the program, your program won't receive that cash back, but you will receive replacement vouchers that will be able to be used in the next or the coming academic year. So you'll have, you'll kind of have a stock of those that you'll be able to use then for this coming fall. Fee waiver credits or fee waiver vouchers, these are also the financial need vouchers that are issued by Pearson each year, are not available for an extension or a refund. However, keep in mind that these, you know, to the best of our knowledge, these are still in the queue to be released this fall as well. So you're on par, you're on cycle to receive your next batch of those as well. August or September, they'll be out. So any of your candidates who paid for edTPA using that fee waiver, those again will not be replaced, but you'll be in that queue to receive yours at the end of the summer. So let me just stop right there and ask if there's any questions before we walk through the process itself.
So I have a question. Our EPP buys vouchers for our student candidates. So our students are assessed a fee through the university. Then I take that money and buy the vouchers. So I am a little fuzzy on the students themselves, the candidates. I'm hearing you say the candidates will receive the $300 possibly in 2 payments.
Mm-hmm. If they paid for it with their own credit card, yes.
No, I'm not talking about that.
Okay.
We all do it with vouchers here.
Okay. So then your EPP, once you've identified the candidates who are eligible for a refund, and that's the process we'll talk about in just a minute, Pearson will reissue vouchers, the same number of vouchers to you. So if you need to refund, depending on what your policy is at your EPP about refunding student fees and other pieces of the financial obligations that students have paid, if your EPP refunds them, that would come from the EPP. So Pearson will replace the vouchers, but the candidate, because the candidate didn't purchase anything directly from Pearson, we have no way to refund them the voucher, the money for the voucher.
That was the key element.
Yes.
We, the institution, have to figure out how to refund.
Correct.
The money. Okay.
Correct. Thank you. You got it. Absolutely. Thanks for asking that question and clearing that up early. So let's talk about the refund process. edTPA coordinators and candidates are going to be asked to follow a set of procedures to receive the full $300 refund, or again, to have EPP purchase vouchers reissued. So I want to walk you through that process. So first, what edTPA coordinators are being asked to do is to instruct all candidates who are eligible for the state's waiver to withdraw their edTPA registration by June 15th. So what we'll ask you all to do is to first send that communication to any candidate who's eligible for that withdrawal or for that waiver, a message instructing them to withdraw their edTPA registration by that date. Following that, the Friday following, so that's a Monday, by that Friday, the edTPA coordinator will receive access to a secure file. It'll come from an email, edTPA EPP support. And that file will include a list of the candidates that we have identified as eligible for a full refund due to the waiver. So we're going to download a list. It'll look a lot like your candidate status report of candidates who have withdrawn during the time frame and that we believe may be eligible for that refund. And then we will ask you, the coordinator, to take about another week to review and confirm those eligible candidates. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a moment. Once you have reviewed and confirmed the eligible candidates in that file, we'll take over from there and we will begin to process the additional $100 refund. And then the program vouchers that will be replaced. And that takes about 4 to 6 weeks. I'll be honest, we've kind of padded that a little bit, so hopefully it won't be quite that long as we're processing these. So, but we're asking to be thinking in terms of about 4 to 6 weeks. So we have some screenshots. Kelly had spent some time this weekend putting together some screenshots of these so that we can show you what this looks like. But step by step, the process is, again, edTPA coordinators instructing all candidates who are eligible for the state's waiver to withdraw their edTPA registration by 11:59 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on June 15th. So that's about just over 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from now. Just of note, one thing that you may want to just let your candidates know is that once their registration is withdrawn, the portfolio is no longer accessible to them. So if they have uploaded any artifacts, any documents, any videos, and they wish to retain those, they should download them first. Once they have withdrawn their portfolio, they will not be able to access it any longer. So again, first step, you'll just email the candidates who are eligible for the state's waiver, instructing them to withdraw. Then by June 19th, you will receive that secure file that I mentioned. It'll come from edTPA EPP support at pearson.com. This is, it's going to be a multi-step verification process for you to access this file. So we're sharing it through SharePoint. We can't email this to you because it does contain personally identifiable information. So that PII prohibits us from being able to email this to you. So we do have to share it in a secure way. So you'll receive an email with a direct link and it'll look a lot like what's on here, and you'll click open. And when you do, it's going to give you a verification code. Well, you're going to request. You're going to click send code and request a verification code. Once it sends you that verification code, then it'll look like this. You'll get an email and you'll be able to enter that code and verify your identity. Okay. And again, this is to protect your candidates, that PII that will be in this, this file. Once you open the file, it'll look like this, and I'm going to show you in the next screen a kind of a larger, more zoomed in version of this, but this is what it'll look like. It'll have 2 tabs in the Excel file. The first tab will be instructions, so you don't have to remember everything that we are sharing with you here today. Detailed instructions will be in that first tab, and then the second tab will be your data. The data will only be for your EPP. So you won't need to do any sorting or any searching or anything for your candidates. The file that you receive and that you have access to will only be for your program. So that'll make that a little bit easier as well. What you'll see though are kind of the headers here. The list that will be pulled are your candidates who have withdrawn from the date the policy was released until June 15th. So if they withdrew from the date the policy waiver was announced through essentially midnight on June 15th, then they will be listed in this file. What we're asking you to do is to go through these and identify if they're eligible or ineligible. And here's what this will look like. So again, this will be pre-populated with all of your candidates. Column A will have a drop-down menu. The eligible, not eligible. And then if you see kind of this yellow right here on row 4 in this example, that yellow is just someone that you haven't attached a label to yet in terms of eligibility or ineligibility. So we'll ask you to review your file, determine if your candidate was eligible for the refund or ineligible. And then once you do this, the nice thing about SharePoint is that it'll save automatically. So after you've finished this, and even if you start it one time and you need to go back in a couple hours or a couple days later and adjust something or finish your work, it'll save as you're working. So you don't need to save it anywhere. You don't need to push it back to us. We'll go in and be able to pick this up. So after the 15th, we'll be able to go in and do this. So it'll be there for you. So once that process is complete and you have verified their eligibility or indicated that they're ineligible, then when we pick that back up, again, we'll take it from there, and candidates will receive the additional $100 refund, and the program will receive those replacement vouchers within 4 to 6 weeks. So the process that's the coordinator side. The process for the candidate is that it's really just that they need to withdraw their registration by 11:59 p.m. PST on June 15th. So to withdraw, they'll log into their edTPA.com account. They can select current registrations and then withdraw, and then they'll just follow the instructions that are provided. So they'll be prompted from there, and then they'll be walked through the process of withdrawing. Again, just that reminder that once their registration is withdrawn, the portfolio is no longer accessible to them. So they will need to, again, download anything if they wish to retain a copy of anything for themselves. And then again, just reminding the candidates that once they register, the standard $200 refund will be issued by Pearson, usually within 4 weeks, and the additional $100 will be issued by Pearson within 4 to 6 weeks of the EPP's confirmation. So once that window has closed on the 26th, we'll pick all of those up, and then we'll begin processing those additional $100 refunds. Just to note, if a candidate does not withdraw before that June 15th deadline, they won't receive the $100 refund. We're really working to get this turned around very quickly. So we're putting some time frames around this. And then again, just a reminder that if the candidate had applied a voucher of any kind toward the registration fee, a refund or credit in the voucher amount will not be issued to the candidate. That if your EPP is going to refund them that fee, then that would come from the EPP. We'll replace those vouchers for you, though, that you had purchased. So that kind of brings me to the end, but I'm going to open this up to any questions. And again, Kelly is here, so please ask us any questions, and we'll try our best to answer today.
So I'll jump in again with another question. It was right in the middle of my different workshops where I was working with different groups of students on registering, that this all came down and the decision came down. And to be honest with you, it may be that I have some candidates who paid their fee to the university, have a voucher code, but held back actually registering. What I'd like to know is, should I have them register and then withdraw? No.
No, that's a good question. No, they don't need to register at all. If that's an unused voucher, then you can just retain that for use next year.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. What other questions can we answer for you today? Kelly, can you think of anything else to add to this conversation?
The only thing I would just say is that Lori and I and our team are going to be have our hands really all over this, and we'll be monitoring very closely, the progress. So we will be sure. We've already talked about, setting reminders for ourselves to send you reminders. Just again because it is a short turnaround time, as Lori mentioned. We did want to get this money, especially back out into the candidates who paid right out of pocket, back into their hands as quickly as possible. So we will send you reminders along the way. And if you have any questions at any point, we did try to take all of the heavy lifting off of you by, giving you the list and you just needing to confirm. But if you have any questions about particular candidates, don't hesitate to reach out to us and we'll work through it together.
I want to just say thank you very much for all the hard work you've done so far and are doing. It's hard to know just how emotionally trying this is on the individual candidates, and they've been very gracious, but they also, will be happy to receive this good news.
We're happy to be able to do this for sure, Susan. And Susan, if you, or any of you, not just Susan, but Susan, you asked. So if any of you would like a list of your vouchers that are active. So if you just need to know, we had bought 100 vouchers and I don't know which of my students used them or not. If you just send me an email, I can get that for you. So just send me a separate email. I'll put in the request. It might take, 24, 48 hours, but I will get that for you. And that way you will know which of your vouchers are truly unused and which of your candidates, which of your vouchers were used. And then you would be able to cross-check your own references just to see which candidate used which voucher. So if you'd like to do that, if you need that, please let me know.
Thank you.
Sounds good, Marie. That would be perfectly fine. I see your note in the chat, so.
We appreciate this and Pearson's timeliness in getting this information out and your desire to ease the burden on the EPPs as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. It's our pleasure. So
that's so typical of you.
Well, thank you. Well, if there's no other questions, we can certainly give you back quite a bit of your time today.
I think we just booked a half hour.
Oh, well, fantastic. Well, then we're not giving you back much at all. It's nothing. I'm not giving you back anything, actually, then.
Good deal. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Candace, I believe I have to end the meeting now.
Yeah, actually, I have found from experience that if you just exit and forget to close off the record, it'll just happen automatically.
Fantastic.
I've just learned that somehow.
I love it. Have a good one, Candace.
Lori. You too.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.